The market's open, just a minute in. Again, remaining objective. What are we looking at here? So again, the market's pretty much gapped down, but like I said before, look at this as a possible gap down for continuation because they may close that gap and continue higher for the rest of the day. So we will remain objective. I'm not just going to jump in and out in either direction. I'm not going to be biased in either direction. So I'm just going to go ahead and dip my toes when I see an opportunity here. But as you can see here, pretty much, like I said, on the daily, the move was pretty much 50% almost of yesterday's move up. So that's to be expected before continuation. But again, the markets are still pointing lower, so we want to be cautious. But so far, I like what I see. The tick is below 500, signifying significant sell pressure. So that supports the market's downside. But if it continues higher, basically like it did yesterday, this is what it did yesterday. It started low and then it just continued higher and higher and higher. That's going to signify, hey, yeah, you know what? We are going higher. Look at the volume coming in. 362, only 12%, 15%, and 6% are on the sell side. So that's what I'm looking at now. So I'm keeping an eye on the VIX, on the SPY. And if it breaks above this line here, by 9:35:36, closer to the end of this candle, that's probably when I'm going to be looking to jump in. And again, like I said, I'm just going to dip my toes and see what happens because I don't want to get caught on a fake rally here, okay? So let's just keep an eye on this. All right, so here we go. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. Still nothing. I haven't entered anything. All right, here we go. The tick is starting to climb. All right, so here we go, guys. This is starting to build out pretty nicely. The VIX is breaking out higher. The tick is still below 500. Everything is pointing lower at this point. I'm just waiting for it to break here. Once it breaks here, I am going to go ahead and jump in going lower. Normally, I do prefer this to happen within the first 15 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and dip in my toes by getting one position here. For next week, I'm going to do the 283s. There we go. I'm going to get one here. One put for next week. I'm just going to get one right now. Once we have a confirmed break below, at the end of this candle, I will probably add some more. Here we go. So everything now confirms the move. The tick significantly below zero at the 500 levels continues to give me alerts that the pressure is to the downside. The VIX continues to push higher and all the markets are pushing lower. So now we definitely have room to run. None of them are pretty much, they are all pretty much away, pretty far from their oversold areas on the RSI. So we can see this probably going to run to the pivot and possibly keep going lower till 1040. I'm going to go ahead and add some more. All right, and I always say, when you put in your order, try to put it in at the bid, especially on the SPY, and just give it a second. You will get a fill. Just give it a second. So there you go, guys. I'm in on 1, 2. Gonna wait a little bit more before I add any more. In the position, I'm gonna go ahead and add my stop alert. On this case, I'm not going to use the high of the 30-minute because it broke above that pivot. So my first stop is gonna remain at the pivot and then move on to the second 30-minute candle high. So that's how I'm gonna play this one today, obviously, because there's no point I'm going beyond this pivot at this point. Okay, guys. So my first stop here is going to be this pivot, a close above the pivot. I'm going to go ahead and set my alert. So what I will be looking for is a close above that pivot on the 10-minute. All right, 280.23 was pretty much that low of yesterday, the open. So I'm going to keep an eye on that area there. This pivot is a little close for the number of contracts that I have. On a bigger account, if you do 50 or 100, yes, I would definitely start taking some here and then let the rest run. But for this small position, this small account, it's just not going to make much sense to get out that early. So I'm going to let this run, and I'm going to keep an eye on the time and everything that goes on from now on, okay? All right, so I'll go ahead and let this play out, and we'll be back before we close this trade, okay, guys? Just doing a quick check on the trade. So basically, what happened? It bounced off of the pivot and it bounced higher. These are the moments where you need to just be patient and don't get scared out. Don't get squeezed out on just the bounce. Nothing goes straight down and continues to just go down forever or up. If this would have been a long play, obviously we took it short. So my stop is still here. Once the 10 o'clock candle closes, this is probably going to be the high for it. This is where I'm going to set my new stop. On a close above that. So this is going to be my new stop, and I'm just going to move it down. So basically, just don't get squeezed out. As you can see here, the tick continues to hit that minus 500 level. I mean, look at the 5-period moving average. It just continues to stay there. So there's a lot of selling pressure today. The markets are still selling off, and the VIX is still going higher, trending higher. So as long as none of this reverses, then we are still good to go on this play. So the stop is still up here. So we're going to let this play out, okay? And I'll come back as soon as we're getting ready to close this. So we got a new high set for the 10 o'clock candle. So it's going to be here. And again, this is the moment. You can't just allow yourself to be squeezed out because of these little high pops here. So you can see we had an awesome tick fade here, hit the 500 plus, and then immediately returned to minus 500, and now continuing below that to minus 1,000, which is telling us what, guys? That there is a lot of selling pressure today. We are going lower today. The VIX is continuing to rise higher here. I'm going to go ahead and add one more time at this point to my SPY position. My stop is still here. Once we move lower, obviously I'm going to move it to this new high here on the 30-minute if that remains to be. So I'm going to go ahead and add one more position here. If I can get a fill, let's see. All right, there we go. We got a fill on that addition there. This is why it's important to be patient and not chase the stock down, because it will most than likely come back to your offer price. So just give it time. The stop is still at the pivot. I'm going to go ahead and move that down now to a close above the high of the 10 o'clock candle here. So it's going to be my new stop here. All right. So now I'll be back once this, let's let this play out and see how this turns out. Okay, guys? All right, guys, here we go. 10:59:30, SPY finally broke the pivot here. So like I said before, don't get squeezed out. You need to be a little bit more patient with these bounces, and just really, instead of getting out, just add, buy, instead of, you buy on these bounces, so you buy more puts. And keep shorting until it hits your stop. So you know what I mean? So if you see something like this, obviously this formed a nice bearish engulfing. I added near the top because I waited for the bounce to come back, so I added around here somewhere, pretty much where I entered it originally. Um, but this is the point, you know, you layer in, because that way, if this would have bounced back hard and got stopped out, it would have been for a smaller position. But since it failed, hey, you know what? Let me add some more and take advantage of this run down. So now that it's 11 o'clock, I'm gonna go ahead and move my stop down to the next high. And then we'll let this play out and we'll update this. So I'll start taking profits around here if it gets down here, or if I see a significant reversal pattern later forming. So again, I'm keeping an eye on the markets. What are the markets doing? What is the VIX doing? And what is the tick doing? So again, the tick is one of my major alert systems here. Obviously, it's been trending and staying below 0 and hitting this 500 mark over and over and over again, as you can see here. You just heard it there. So now when this starts to reverse and it starts to hit the 500 more and more, and this blue line hits over 0, that'll probably be the time where, you know what, I may just move my stop and just get out and take my profits there. Because once this line starts to trend above 0, you'll notice that it'll probably signify a higher or bigger bounce for the rest of the day. So we'll see how we play this. So far, so good. The position is doing well. We have 4 contracts. We're up $319 right now on those 4 contracts on the SPY. Okay, guys? I'll update you in a few hours or minutes. Now we've moved the stop from the 10 o'clock candle, 10:30 candle to the 11, and now we're about to move it to the 11:30 candle. So this is probably going to be our new stop here. It's pretty much at our first target here, but the pressure is so high right now. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer because it looks like we have a lot more room to run here. But this is where I would start telling you, yes, start taking some. I'm personally gonna hold a little bit more, but this is a good area to start taking profits. I'm already locked in basically at this point. Anywhere here and lower, I'm making money regardless. So right now the position's up just about 750 bucks. But as you can see and you can hear, the pressure to the downside is massive. I mean, it keeps hammering away at this tick here below 500. So I still see more room to run. If I see a reversal pattern forming, then I will consider definitely taking profits here on some of it and then leaving some of them to run. But right now I'm just going to hold a little bit longer until I see signs of potential reversal. But as you can see here, the markets are still moving lower. The VIX is still rallying higher, and the tick continues to pound away at this minus 500 line, and it hits this minus 1,000 a couple of times already today. So every time it went above 0, it quickly came right back down. So those are what we like to call tick fades, guys. Pretty much getting you going after stops and or tricking bull traps. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, let's go high. Boom, you see quick spikes like this one, see quick spikes like this one. People get scared out and don't let their positions run. And then the guys that bought obviously get hammered and or stopped out as the markets continue to sell off here. So this is when you have to be patient and just work the plan. Just move your stop down. So obviously we entered these positions all the way up here. We entered all the way up here when it broke the pre-market low. We added more here, you know. So now that we are safe in the safe zone, you're good to go. Just follow your position down, and then by the end of the day, I'll definitely be taking profits. And depending on how far down this sells off, I may hold some over the weekend. Honestly, this is looking like it may continue. But I'll make that decision later on today. Right now on the daily, you will see that it's starting to break past that support level. So if we break down below 279, 275.5, yeah, I'm probably going to keep some over the weekend. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll play this by the moment now. At this point, I'm already locked in for the most part. There is no, I mean, unless this just rallies like crazy over 284 or something, there's no way. I mean, there is a way, obviously, but unless that happens, I'm pretty much locked in profits right now. It'll be a while before it starts to degrade my position from at this point now, guys. So anyways, I'll update you guys before the end of the day. All right, guys, once again, take a look at this. Patience pays off. So let me just show you something quickly here in case you guys don't know. If you create an alert and you want to create an alert when your account reaches a certain point, whether it's a dollar value or a percentage above for the day, like if you want to make 10% for the day or etc., this is where you would do it. You change it here, notification, portfolio metric instead of price condition, and then you can select your account and select net liquidity day change, and you'll see how much your liquidity has changed. So as you can see, this one account is up 87, 86%, while this other account is up 715, 711% already for today, guys. Days like today, you take advantage of this box-in strategy and then you just follow your stop along with the 30-minute candles. You will do great. Don't rush out of your positions. Obviously, start collecting profits whenever possible. Never be afraid to take profits, but definitely let your winners run. That's the only way you're going to be able to lock in gains like this. 720% already for the day, and on the other account, 90% for the day. So these are just two accounts, but obviously this is a massive return right here for any account on any given day. And days like this are the days that are going to be profitable for you. So this is why you have to let your winners run, because on days like this is when you will make the most money. All right, guys, here we go. Moving our stop one more time here. This time we're going to move it to the 12 o'clock, 12:30 candle. We're still on it, so we're going to move it to the 12 o'clock candle high right here, right about there. We still have our position open, so at this point, I'm not going to base my profit taking on a specific target. I'm going to use the 30-minute stop, but I'm definitely going to lock in some profits before the end of the day. But I'm going to let this run a little bit more because obviously it's going our way. There's no need to rush out of any positions at this point. And as you can see here, the tick keeps pounding away. I mean, this 5-period MA on it is just pounding away at that 500 mark, which shows significant selling pressure. This may go on over to next week as well. So we may have a massive gap down on Monday. Mondays tend to be those days over the weekend. So now that I'm deep in the money, I'm probably going to leave some of these contracts on, and then maybe I'll just take half now. Half of these contracts are gonna already make up for what I paid for them earlier this morning, so it doesn't matter. So when I take profits on them, they're gonna be over what I already put. So my full risk is already out of the table, and then I can let the other two run for a potential bigger gain. I mean, these contracts could be worth $6 to $7 on Monday. Who knows? I don't know, but you know, yeah, it could go against me. But at this point, the risk reward, it just makes sense to leave at least a small position on, so we can keep taking advantage of this move. Because these multi-day moves are the ones that are going to pay off a little bit better than just these intraday ones. So I am going to lock in some profits before the end of the day, but I am going to let these run. So I move my stop. In the next 13 minutes, I'll go ahead and move it again. It's not going to be much of a move. It'll just move, I don't know, a couple of cents here. So it's okay. And again, it's just an alert. So once I see it there, that's it. We're gonna close. Once it closes above that on a 10-minute, basically, is when I would start closing everything out. So that's all it is, guys. All right, guys, here we go. So SPY is breaking above my stop. It's about to close there. Boom, it closed there. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my profits. I'm gonna go ahead and take half of my profits here. Let's take half. All right, so I took half of my profits there. I'm gonna, I'm obviously deep in the money, so I'm gonna let this run a little bit longer. If I see it continue higher, then obviously I'm just gonna take all of my profits. I'm not gonna let it run that far against me. But there you go. Now I took half of my profits, pretty much locking myself in for most of my money anyway that I've already put into this trade. So I took half there. Which is pretty much right around that area where the target was anyway. You see, this is where the target was. Obviously, this is a key area here, key area of resistance / support. So it's going to come back here. But now, because it broke above my 30-minute high, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take my profits here, and that's all it is. And, I'm going to watch this candle. And if it continues higher, once it breaks above here, then I'll just take the rest. It's not a big deal. But I don't want to completely jump out right away because, hey, this is just a bounce. It's a bounce. It could continue lower. But these are the first signs that, hey, things are starting to turn around. Take a look at the tick. I mentioned this earlier. Look at the 5-period MA starting to break above the 0 line. This is what I'm looking at. So now we got 1, 2, 3 attempts at the 500 mark. So this is what I'm looking at here, guys. And it's like, okay, well, if this is going to start going higher, I don't want to get stuck on this reversal. And it could be just an intraday reversal, guys. And then it'll continue lower next week. But, I don't want to take any chances. Like I said, I can always get back in. So, again, it's hitting the 500 highs, but quickly returning to the minus 500 lows. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time here. And if necessary, I can get back in, or I'll just let my tool run for next week. But I'm happy with the results so far, and I'll let it play there, okay? Right, guys, and this is exactly why you don't want to rush out. So, yes, it hit my stop. So I always said layer in and also layer out. So it hit my stop, so I took some profits because I don't know what's going to happen, But I don't want to rush out of everything just yet, just in case, because at the end of the day, we're still getting, the tick is still heading lower, the VIX is still heading higher, and the markets are still really heading lower. So I don't want to rush out of anything. I just want to make sure, hey, I lock in some profits because this is the time. And as you can see, it clearly worked out because it happened right around that original target anyway. So yeah, I didn't lock in all the profits I could have locked in down here, but this is why you have a plan. This is why you have a system. If you have a system and you follow it, it'll work long term. And this works well. It's just just have a plan. That way, when you get into your trades, you know exactly what you're going to do. When it happens, you execute. So again, you layer in, you layer out. Obviously, it's starting to go back our way. So I left my 2 contracts in. I'm deep in the money. I got the 283s, as you can remember, up here. I got them when we were here. So I got them in the money, and we added some more on the bounce here. And now we're deep in the money. So depending on how much lower we head today, I may leave 1 or 2 of these contracts into play for the next week. Because at the end of the day, hey, man, if I can take advantage of a nice move lower on Monday, why wouldn't I? So that's what I'm paying attention to now. And just a quick lesson here. I just pretty much learned this right now because I was getting annoyed with all these alerts all over my charts. If you go over to the settings tab on your charts, you can actually just remove them right here. So instead of having your alerts take up more space on your charts, you can actually just click do not show alerts. The alerts are still there, but you won't see them, which is nice. So I got rid of them because it was getting really annoying taking up space and putting all these lines on my charts. All right, let's see what happens next. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and finish out the day. I'm going to go ahead and lock in these profits. At this point, as you can see here, the tick is starting to hit the 500 highs more and more and more. And the 5-period MA now is ranging at this 0 line and starting to go higher. So I'm just going to go ahead and lock in the rest of my profits here. Boom, there you go. Just got the alert again. So that's my stop. So I'm just going to go ahead and get out. I'm still fairly confident that we may get a potential move lower for next week. But you know what? I can always get back in, right? So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and lock in my profits for today. It's been a good day so far. Let's go ahead and lock these in. And we are done. So that was our SPY trade for the day. It ended up basically right where we targeted anyways. So no harm, no foul. This is just being consolidated here. I don't like what the tick is doing. And the VIX is starting to return. So this is, an expected pullback going into the close of the day. So I'm just going to take my profits and call it a day at this point. And that's all, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys learned something. And I will catch you guys next time.